here today to say, do not let the super committee be an instrument of the 1%.
Right.
Instead, it should stand up for the 99%. And it is time to ask the 1% to pay their fair share. Most important, we are here today to send a message to the super committee and to Congress that behind all the budget numbers of fancy economics, there are people, real people, with real families, living in our neighborhoods and across town. Some are here today and will tell their stories. These are the people the super committee needs to see, not shut them out.
Right.
Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are far more than the benefits they provide. The benefits are, of course, very important, but they are also trusts based on broadly shared civic and religiously based values. The idea that you work hard and you get something for reward. The idea that you have responsibility to care for others, to care for your parents, your children, for your neighbors, and human dignity. These are the values, institutions, and protections we are here today to conserve for ourselves and our families and those who follow. For a moment before I introduce the Senator, allow me to introduce Sarita.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarita Gupta, I'm the Executive Director of National Jobs with Justice. And Past Generations campaign, together with seniors, people with disabilities, young people, workers, and many more that are impacted by the issues of care, we're building a movement to transform the way long-term care is delivered in this country. Given the demographic shifts in our country, with an American turning 65 every 8 seconds, that's 10,000 Americans turning 65 every day, over 4 million a year. Yep. It is critical that our public policy matches our values and vision of the type of society we're trying to build, one in which we can truly care for one another. And we believe programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security are critical. So given that, I want to just take a moment to say that many groups are here in this room who after this hearing are in fact meeting with members of super committees and giving them a wake-up call to say, you know, it's important to protect these very critical programs. Groups like Campaign for Community Change, PICO National Network, the National People's Action, Alliance for Retired Americans, Social Security Works, Jobs with Justice, the National Domestic Workers Alliance, the Caring Across Generations Campaign, the National Committee to Preserve and Protect Social Security and Medicare, Healthcare for America Now, the United Auto Workers, the Service Employees International Union, and many more grassroots groups that are in this room represented by these national networks. It's with all of us being in this room and on the Hill today that's going to make a difference. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it back over to Eric.
Thank you, Sarita. And now I have the privilege to introduce Senator Bernie Sanders.
First, let me thank all of you for exercising your democratic rights as citizens of the United States of America. It is an honor and pleasure to see you here in the Capitol, which every single day is inundated by corporate lobbyists and big money interests. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all of the organizations that have made this event the success that it will be. I do a lot of town meetings in the state of Vermont, and it's great to bring that concept right here to Washington, D.C. Here's the issue. The issue is that this country, in fact, does have a serious deficit problem. But the reality is that the deficit was caused by 2 wars unpaid for. It was caused by huge tax breaks for the wealthiest people in this country. It was caused by a recession as a result of the greed, recklessness, and illegal behavior on Wall Street. And if those are the causes of the deficit and the national debt, I will be damned if we're going to balance the budget on the backs of the elderly, the sick, the children, and the poor. That's what. Are here today to say to the super committee, which is surrounded by lobbyists and big money interests, yes, we want you to go forward and help us with deficit reduction, but we want you to do it in a way that is fair and responsible.
Yeah.
When the wealthiest people in this country have never had it so good, when the top 1% earns more income than the bottom 50%, and the tax rates for the highest income people in real effective terms are the lowest in decades, we're going to ask the wealthiest people to start paying their fair share of taxes. Major corporation after major corporation making billions of dollars in profits and paying 0 in federal income tax in a given year because of outrageous tax loopholes, we're going to ask those corporations to start paying their fair share. And when military spending has tripled since 1997, and when the U.S. today spends more on defense than the rest of the world combined, we know we can make sensible cuts to the military without endangering our national security. The reason that Social Security has engendered so much hatred on the part of many of our right-wing colleagues is because Social Security has worked. Before Social Security, half of the seniors in this country lived in poverty, and today, while the number is too high, it's down to 10%. So we understand that what our job is to strengthen Social Security, not to cut it. I don't want you to laugh too loud when I tell you this. There are literally people in Congress who think that the COLA for Social Security is too generous. So you laugh. You're not supposed to laugh. Seniors got 0 COLA for 2 years. This year there will be a COLA. Despite increased costs of health care and prescription drugs, they think the COLA is too generous. They want to cut it to a so-called chain CPR. 50 million Americans today have no health insurance. They want to throw kids and working people off of Medicaid. There are some people who have this brilliant idea that maybe we should raise the eligibility age for Medicare from 65 to 67. Now you tell me, the 66-year-old worker who comes down with cancer or some other terrible illness, you tell me what private insurance company is going to provide them with health care that they can afford. There ain't none out there. So we are assembled today to say that in this great country, we have a program called Social Security that has worked, that, by the way, just in passing, has a $2.5 trillion surplus, hasn't contributed a nickel to the deficit, can pay out every benefit for the next 25 years. We are not going to allow them to cut Social Security. We know that while we can create, as the rest of the industrialized world has, a stronger healthcare system that guarantees healthcare to all of our people as a right, Today we're here to defend Medicare and Medicaid. It is now my pleasure, and it really is a pleasure, to introduce one of the real fighters in the United States Senate, somebody who year after year after year has stood up for the elderly and for working people, the senior senator from the state of Maryland, Barbara McCluskey.